hello again. This is the 11th of January 2023, and this is the second in my series about autistic speech, and this one is about the autistic accent, which, this is going to be very much about my opinions and my observations, because I don't know that there's even been any research done about the autistic accent. But certainly for me personally, it's always a dead giveaway. I mean, I don't know that every one of us has this particular accent. I mean, certainly some of us are non-verbal, so obviously they don't have it particularly. Don't have it at all, not necessarily particularly. And of course, everybody has a sort of regional or class-based accent as well. And there is an autistic undertone to it, which is slightly adenoidal drone, clear diction, each letter and word pronounced. Of course, there's a certain amount of masking involved. We do, we can, in some cases, sort of modify our accent to just avoid being asked, where are you from? So I personally get asked where I'm from a lot, just because my accent sounds slightly off. I mean, I live, not to put too fine a point on it, in South Yorkshire. I've lived here most of my life, since I was a small child. So you'd think I would have a local accent, but it's never quite been unnoticeable, let's say. My own personal theory is that, as children, as, lovely little autistic children, we tend to spend a lot of time watching telly, reading books, etc., not as much time as a neurotypical child would out playing with the other kids. So, we do end up sounding slightly skewed. I mean, what we sound like might be different for every individual. But as I say, there is how would you call it, some sort of commonality in my fellow autistic people. You don't tend to hear amongst neurotypicals. I was talking to someone once about this who also had the theory that I don't altogether dismiss, that it could be down to motor skills. It is quite common for autistic people to be uncoordinated, have joint pain, etc. Because the sort of wiring of our brain does sometimes have a kind of adverse effect on how we move. Our sense of balance, etc. And it's conceivable that that the effect of this could be that we sound slightly odd when we speak. there is a tendency as well to go for an extended vocabulary, let's say. I mean, it might be, as I was saying earlier, we do tend to spend a lot of time reading and consuming media when we're children, which neurotypical people don't quite to the same extent, and also the tendency to retain and regurgitate information. I think that probably explains the autistic vocabulary. And maybe not spending as much time as usual socialising with other children, other teenagers, does have some bearing on how much of sort of local slang terms we pick up. And that probably contributes to the assumption that we're a bit posh. I don't know. Don't mention in the comments. My fellow autistics, where have people guessed you're from? Do they think you're posh? I've been asked if I'm from Leeds, Hull, Derbyshire, Lincolnshire, Dronfield. Weirdly specific. Just a little place just outside Sheffield. No, not from any of those places. Keep guessing. I do have people assume I'm foreign quite a lot. I find at work, customers will hear me say a few words and suddenly start nattering to me in Polish, and I speak like 3 words of Polish. So yeah, that's led to some sorry, cats fighting again. Yeah, that's led to some awkward conversations. No, not Polish, not posh, not anything beginning with P. They're okay. I think they've sorted it out. I think it'd be interesting to see some research, if any has ever been done, or anyone's thinking of doing any, into how we pick up accents, how the average person picks up an accent, neurotypical versus neurodiverse accent acquisition. Do we tend to stick in our ways when we move house? Do we try to fit in more than the average person would, as a form of masking? And of course, masking plays a big part in how we speak. Your speech patterns are a big part of who you are and how people perceive you. It's definitely subject to masking as much as anything else. Yes, and mention in the comments as well if it's something that you personally have perceived. What do you notice about the way your fellow autistic people speak? I suppose everything that I have noticed myself comes through this lens of, living in the north of England and assuming that, this is sort of basic, normal people speak. Whereas, maybe if you live in another part of the world, it's more noticeable or not as noticeable. That autistic people sound a bit different, have a slightly skewed accent. Yeah, I'm interested in what other people have to say about this, definitely. Because as I say, this is, my personal observations. I mean, I've only sort of discussed this with one or two people, and it's not something that seems to be widely noticed. Yes, tell me about your experiences. And I will leave it there. I think that's about all there is to say about the autistic accent. At least for the moment. Yes, so leave me some comments. I will see you in the next one.